week off. We're refreshed. We've had the pre-finals bye. We
We
really
have.
needed it because we were really pulling fumes by the end. But we are excited. We're going hard. We're going fast. We've got about 25 minutes until the first game is going live. And we wanted to come live to you with the teams and our predictions for 4 massive games. It's going to be 8 teams, 4 games, 4 winners, 2 continue, 2 hit their footy trips as of Monday. As always, I can't do this without the greatest co-host ever in the world. You know who he is. It's Jamie the J-Dog Wallis. Big fella, are you pumped? Are you excited? Is the heart pumping for some awesome finals football action?
Certainly is, Peps. We've got ourselves 20-something minutes, so let's just get stuck into it.
Let's get into it. All right, we know it's kicking off tonight. At the Jabba, the Hut, Brisbane Lions, Richmond, 7:20 p.m. at the Gabba. Ins, Calamachi, Darcy Wilmot, Devon Robertson, and Dusty is in for the Tigers. Out, Cam Rayner. The umbrella has gone up. He's dried. He's suspended. Jared Lyons, rah, he won't be roaring. He's injured. Noah Ainsworth suspended. And Jason Can't Stand Ya, the Medi sub, also out for Richmond. Interesting one for the Lions. They've gone with a new boy on the block, Darcy Wilmot. Big time to debut in an elimination final. No pressure, young fella, but it could be the last game for you. You just never know. And the subs are Calamachi and the 300-game superstar of the Tigers, Shane Edwards. Joe Danaher playing game 150th. Oscar McInerney playing game 100. J-Dog, this is going to be big. It's going to be massive.
Yep.
Tell me your thoughts. Tell me what you think. And tell me who is going to win and why.
For me, it's going to be the Tigers make the Lions the bitches every finals.
Yeah. One roars and one whimpers. That's exactly right.
And Brisbane got a home ground advantage in this one here, but I still think that the Tigers are too strong. I think Brisbane limped into the finals. I don't think they played great football after the bye rounds in early in the year. So for me, it's Richmond, and Richmond by 32 points.
Yep.
Dusty is probably going to get a pair.
A pair? Like I said, he is probably one of the best one-touch players I've ever seen. And I look, it's simple as this. If you ever look at the last 5, it's been a draw and 4 wins for the Tigers.
Yeah.
3 wins and 2 losses. But that last loss to the D's in round 23 was a stinker for Brisbane. They were shown up. We've talked about fake news. They showed fake toughness. And Dane Zorko, mate, you're an absolute joke. Yep. Interestingly enough, though, they had a 15-7 season. Richmond had a 13-8, but they played all their good footy at the start of the year, and Richmond have played it as of late. That big boy down front, Lynchy, I've said he's the most overrated forward in the league. He can shut me up if he has an absolute barnstormer tonight. But when you have a look at their forward line, and this is the thing that I look at and go, it is going to be tough for the Brisbane Lions to support this. When you've got people sitting down forward of Martin, Rewald, Lynch, Bolton, Rioli, and probably maybe, I forgot his name, Cumberland down there as well too. It's just going to be too hard to stop. The Brisbane backline, especially Harris Andrews, he's a shell of his former self. He's lacking confidence whatsoever, and it's just going to be
all Australian last year.
I know he's all Australian, but
last year, this year, nothing.
No, he's not even all Mildura team. That's how bad he's going at the moment. So I think Richmond are going to win this one. It wouldn't surprise me if Brisbane won. Like, they pulled out a performance that nobody saw coming.
Yeah.
And played to their ultimate. They are a highly attacking team, and if it comes off, it is a big risk over reward for this mob. But I just think that, Hipwood hasn't really fired in finals. Danaher hasn't fired in finals. What's his name? Charlie Cameron's last final wasn't fantastic either. So there's a lot of pressure on those guys to support. Then you've got your Baileys. You've then got your the Berries, those type of guys. Zorko, I just don't know. I'm going with Richmond just simply because if I had to have the trust factor, I'd be simply going with them as well too. Their record going into this game is a lot more sublime, and they're probably a lot more trustworthy as well too. Had a few soft kills. Let's be honest with it. But if you had to pick one or the other, I'm going with Richmond.
Very good. All right, how much by?
I'm going by Richmond 3 goals. I think it'd be a bit tight, but I reckon they might be able to stretch it out towards the back end. But once again, we know that they're a highly attacking team, Brisbane, and if they can hit the scoreboard early, you just never know. And I honestly don't think Dusty's going to have much of a say in this game too long out of the game, I reckon.
All right, let's go. We've got to pick up the pace.
All right, Melbourne versus the Swans, 7:50 p.m. My boys at the MRCG in Salem. No changes for the Swans. Out, Jake Bowie, omitted. Very stiff, but you're bringing in Salem for Bowie. Bowie will be the Medi-sub. Melbourne's Medi-sub last week was James Jordan, who's out for the year. What a poor bloke. He's played 22 games, I think, last year and played in the grand final, didn't get a run. And he's played every game this year and is going to miss finals because of his foot. Sam Wicks has been the Medi-sub. Petrarca plays 150. Sparrow plays his 50th game as well, too. I love what he's doing, that young fella. He's going to be an absolute
not bad. Coming in for the finals last year, got a grand final, got a cup.
He gets a taste of it as well too. You know, you talk about the previous game having two teams of similar form and ilk at the moment. These two teams, they are literally the same spot. You know, second and third, same wins and losses. Average points for us 88 to 94 in favour of the Swans. Points against 67 to 73. So they pretty much cancel out themselves as well. The average ages are pretty much the same. Average games are the same. Average height is the same. Average weight is a kilo difference. You've got two teams that play.
Is that a real stat you have in front of you?
I've actually got all this in front of me right now, mate. I've done my research, unlike yourself. From a disposals perspective, Melbourne have more disposals. The other mob kick it more in terms of the Swans. It's just going to be two teams.
Who's going to win? Big ground, kicking versus handball, running versus chippy kicks. What are you looking for?
It's going to be get it in, lock it up, and kick down the line versus weave through the grid and get it down to the big boy Franklin down there. Look, I'm simply going with my mob. Their last couple of games, the Carlton win, they would have got a lot out of. They played pretty well against the Collingwood game, which they did lose, and they should have won that one. They just bad kicking, or it bad football. And they destroyed Brisbane. They're fit, they're healthy. Funny enough, their percentage, they've been talking about how the difference between Melbourne has been this year and last year. The percentages are virtually the same, 130% finishing at the end of the year as well too. The Swans, I think they've gone 7 in a row. They're playing some awesome footy. They get Buddy back this time around when they beat us at the G last time. We've got Stephen May back. Petrarca was crook last time. Petty was a bit injured, but the Swans played some cracking footy. Will Sam Reid tore us a new one? Will he be able to do that again? I don't know. I'm going with my mob. I'm going by 4 goals. Just simply the fact that they know how much this means, and if it's going to be a battle of the midfields, when you've got a midfield of Gawn in the ruck, Brayshaw, Oliver, Viney, and Petrarca, that's going to be pretty hard to stop. But let's be honest, they've got probably the second best back line, and we've got the first best back line. So I'm going tomorrow night. I can't wait. I'll be chubbed up. Like I said, 4 goals by my team, but don't be surprised. Whoever wins this game will be premiers, I reckon.
All right, I'm going to go to the Swans by 3 goals. Only because last time, back in June when they met you at the MCG, they got a hold of you and won by 12 points. So for me, I think it's more going to be a speed game, and they have the kids to do that, and that's
They certainly do. Well, can I just throw one thing out there? The
Sure.
McCartan brothers down back have been sublime for them this year. And if they can hold Petrarca down, if they can hold Brown down, it's going to go a massive way, because then that means that Pickett's going to have to do it, Fritsch is going to have to do it.
Yep.
Melbourne do have a good spread of goal kickers.
They do.
But it just means that the bombing in, which they do a hell of a lot, will just get picked off.
Yeah.
So they're just going to have to lower their eyes a bit more. But that's great. We're both split on that one. Super Saturday. If this is the game of the first week, yeah, exactly right. Geelong Cats, 4:35 p.m. Collingwood, MCG. I'll be going to this one as well too, J-Dog. Full weekend of footy for me. MCC finally paying itself off after 2 years. JC, Jeremy Cameron, Mitch Duncan, Reece Stanley in. And for Collingwood, Taylor Adams is in after a few weeks off. The axe has been swung here. Brendan Parfait, apparently... Mr. Scott does not like Parfait. He's out. Sava Radaglia is out. Jonathan Segler is out. Mark O'Connor out. Finlay McClare, he's out as well too. And Oliver Henry is the Medi-sub. Brody Mychek playing his 100th game. Would you have to say Brody Mychek will probably be one of the most underappreciated, undervalued,
Yep.
How can I say?
I think I've been this...
Estimated forwards, consistent forwards.
Yeah. Yep, I think so. I think I've been on this bandwagon for about 3 or 4 years now. I think he's just a straight-up lead, mark, pack, kick, goal sort of player. He's not flashy, he's not brilliant. He just does the straight lines leading and takes the ball out in front of him and kick a goal.
He does what he has to do. Now, these teams are looking, they're first and fourth on the ladder. We know Collingwood's record and the number of games that they've won under 2 goals this year. I think it's like 10 out of their last 11. Look, you can only bet on black so many times before it turns to red. And I think this week it's going to turn to red. Geelong, they're just gunning across the board. They're primed for this. I think this is their last swing If they don't win it this year, I don't think they're going to win it over the next couple of years. They're primed for it. Cameron's playing career best football, probably the most important player in the league, probably the most important player leading into these finals because he's been the missing piece from Hawkins' destroyance over the last number of years. Their midfield's been awesome. Tom Atkins going into the middle has made a massive change.
Yep.
It's just there's so much to like about Geelong. Can Collingwood, if they get down by a few goals early, we know that they like to go, but can they continue that grind in a final? Because the finals are very much contested games where Collingwood like to get a little bit on the outside and let their run and gun do it. Can it survive? And will they be able to escape jail again against the Geelong back line? I don't think they can. And I'm going Geelong by 5 goals on here, J-Dog. I think this could get a little bit ugly towards the back end.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go... Yeah, I'm going to go the Cats. Just because they've just dropped the players they need to drop. They've rested all of their superstars in the last 5 weeks, and they're ready to go bang. And Jeremy Cameron, bit of a question mark over that one there, but I think he'll be ready, cherry ripe to go. And
there's been a question mark over Howe as well too. But I'm looking at some of the names here, like Stengel has been a massive in for them this year.
Yep.
You have a look at someone like Max Holmes. I know the D's had their eyes on him in the draft, and he came 1 pick before the D's.
Mm-hmm.
He's been sensational on the wing, so we were spewing he gone. Tom Stewart didn't play finals, remember, last year. So he'll be fanging for it as well, too. And they've got these big boys, Sam de Koning down at fullback. Like, he's just...
Who's he?
Absolutely stunning. But then you go to the other end, Maynard, All-Australian, Darcy Moore, Jeremy Howe, Pendlebury. Pendlebury's... He's never going to... He'll be playing till he's about 86, that bloke. He's just a gun. He is a gun. But I'm going just Geelong, weight of numbers, and Collingwood. Be interesting because if they lose this week and Richmond win, can you imagine the final a week after elimination or first semi-final with those two teams? It'll be a boom shakalaka.
Yep. Very good. All right, next game.
All right, last game to wrap this one up. And tell you what, this is the game I've got no idea about. Fremantle and the Western Bulldogs, 8:10 p.m. Optus Western Stadium. Now, that's over here in the Eastern States, over the Western States.
Optus Western Stadium.
Yeah, figure it out for yourself, all right? Griffin Logue, Jay, Amiss, Rory Lobb, all in. Big guns in. Alex Keith, Juju Hennison, Toby McLean in. Out, Bailey Banfield omitted. Darcy Tucker, Medi Sub. Lloyd Meek out. Probably his last game ever for the Dockers. Nat Fyfe injured. Good old twang again. Now have a look at this. Jossie Bruce finally gets back and has done nothing. He will be out as well too. Betty Sub gone is Robbie McComb. Taylor Duray, personal reason. And Tom Liberatore injured. Aaron, the astronaut, playing his 100th game and possibly his last game for the Western Bulldogs when he comes over to the D's next year on a 8-year, $5 million contract.
Peps, I'm going to go, for me, it's got to be Western Bulldogs.
You reckon the doggies got it? Okay,
yeah,
tell me why.
I'm not overly confident with Nat Fyfe being out. We know he's a bull in the midfield. He's a finals player. Bailey Banfield being omitted as well. I think they've got him. I think Western Bulldogs got him. Not that I think Western Bulldogs are playing great football. I just think final football. I think Western Bulldogs are going to have him over there. Alex Keith being back, I think is going to be a huge thing for their lines there. And Johannesson midfield, Fyfe out. He's going to have a lot of run and carry with that ball. So yeah,
it's going to be tough for the Fremantle back line. When you have a look at Waitman, he had a very quiet final series last year. He had a bit of ducky weave towards the end of last year, if you remember, in the finals. Remember when he was getting free kick after free kick last year? The astronaut, he's been quiet the last couple of weeks. Sam Darcy, he's a massive unit, so he just takes a bit of pressure off there. You got the Ugle-Hagen, the Hyphen. You got those three. That's a pretty formidable forward line. But you've got Cox, Clark, Ryan, Pearce, Hayden Young, and James Aish. Probably the third best back line. Like I said, you probably got the 4 best back lines playing over the course of the weekend, which, usually it's forward lines dominating, but back lines this year have been sensational. And if they can stop the Western Bulldogs scoring, I think at the other end of the ground, when you've got Skotowski, Rory Lobb, you've got Lockie Schultz, Frederick down there, they can cause some damage. Angus Brayshaw in the middle, Caleb Sarong. I'm actually going with Fremantle. I'm going by Fremantle by 3 points. I think this will be a back and forth game, but I just think that the home crowd will get them over the line. With this one. But this is the hardest one I reckon to predict, because I just don't know I don't know which Fremantle's going to turn up, and I just don't know which Western Bulldogs. Because when the Western Bulldogs turn up, they turn it on, but they can also stink it up. And Fremantle, we've seen it before, where at home they've dominated, but then they stunk it up completely towards the back end of the season against Collingwood.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that one there. I think, yeah, man, it's just
Isn't
such a good
finals
week.
footy good, J-Dog? Like, you're sitting there going, I've got no idea what's going to happen. I don't know who's going to win this. And that's the whole thing, which makes us...
You can mount a
so
case for all of them. Like the Tiger. I think the most clearest game for me is the Tigers and the Lions, but that's not clear to me. That's like
It's not clear because we just don't know which Brisbane's going to turn up.
Correct.
It is going to be absolutely nothing.
Oh, good question.
Great question here. The Crows versus North Adelaide. I think North Adelaide got that, and Glenelg are going to take that one over Norwood heading into the finals. It's going to be a cracking sample series over there as well too. But yeah, J-Dog,
I will never go for the Redlegs, Jonesy. I'll never go for the Redlegs.
Hey, listeners, we'll be back on Tuesday night. We had the week off this week.
Hang on, Peps. What's your game? What's the game that you think? Because I think this is a really tough first week of finals.
Yeah. What do you mean? Which game do I think?
Well, what are you clear on who's going to win? Like each game, are you very clear? Are you confident in everyone?
The only game I'm really confident is I think Geelong will pants Collingwood.
Okay.
I think they'll pants them.
Yep.
Like I said, they've won 1 out of their last 7 qualifying finals, so they'll want to get that off their back. I'm fairly confident in Melbourne. They're back to their pre-finals best. I'd have, with the last 3 rounds, having that hard run into the finals has definitely helped them. Looking at Brisbane and Richmond have been playing great footy, but they haven't really played much. Brisbane got smacked, but they could actually turn up tonight. You just don't know.
You sound like me.
So that's a toughie. I think Melbourne, Sydney, I'm pretty okay with that, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sydney won. Geelong Cats, quite easy. And, yeah, the 2 elimination finals, it's literally the team who turns up out of the 2 of them. Yeah, and also scrap the pre-finals bye. If they're going to have a
we
bye...
both agree with that. We agree with that. No one wants it.
Have it before the grand final so you have no issues with concussions, no issues with that whatsoever.
Agree.
Thank you for screwing it up for everybody, Ross
Lyon. Peps, have we finished before the bounce?
We have finished before the bounce. The game has got approximately, something like, what are we? 5.5 minutes to go before the bounce starts. So we've timed this to perfection. Probably the best one that we've had all year. So Tuesday night, we'll be back. We'll look at the games. We'll either have smiles on our faces. We'll either have sadness on our faces. But you know what? It is the single greatest. This is what it's all about. This is where the big boys come to play. And funny enough, no Mad Monday stories to come out of the AFL. A couple of them to come out of the local leagues. Just one tip for you, gentlemen. Just make sure your mates don't have your phones on in the front bar if you're getting up to all sorts. But outside of that...
Phones go in the
safe. No phones. Just don't trust a mate with a phone, especially this time of year. But you can trust us, Peps and J-Dog. This is tipped out by Lace Out, bringing your finals action Tuesday night. We're going to be here. Big boy, I'll see you on Tuesday. Go, Joey!
See you, listeners.